We're in the backyard. That only means one thing. Something's going to get fired up and driven around. And I think the perfect candidate for that is the 1943 GMC CCKW, the original deuce and a half. Now, she's got a little bit of snow on it. We got some work to do to get her uncovered and prepped for driving out today. But, you know, it's not the most amount of snow we've had this time of year in the middle of winter, so I think she'll just crawl right out of here like it's nothing. Barely even feel anything as we're moving, so this ought to be great. So we'll go ahead and get the snow cleaned off. Now, it's not going to be a super brutal cold start today. It is 28 degrees above zero, so, you know, no gloves. We're in a hoodie. This is perfect weather for messing around with this stuff, so it ought to be fun. Let's get the snow cleaned off. Here's our grand total of accumulated snow this year. Going by the old truck charts, I'd say we got a pretty good amount. All right, now that the entire North Pole is cleaned off the top of the truck, do a little assessing here. We do have one flat tire, which I kind of figured that would happen because that one always goes down when it sits during the winter. So we'll go grab the little portable air tank and we'll get that thing aired up. And then on to the whole process of, you know, getting a battery and all that good stuff. Well, got the portable air tank all filled up. Now I could grab a hold of that thing and walk all the way out back to where the truck is, but why would I do that when...
We're not cavemen! We have technology!
That's right, we have technology. There, tire's all aired up, so we'll go back, grab a battery for this thing, and some hot coals to throw under the oil pan. We'll give it some time to preheat, and she ought to fire right up. Okay, the battery's dropped in and hooked up. Now I might as well pop the hood on this thing and check the fluids real quick, even though they're probably good, you know. It's a rare occurrence, but I am smart every now and then, so, you know, we'll just do it for good measure. Oh yeah, perfect. Should still have coolant. Yep. Well, she's all set, nice and full on the dipstick, still has coolant in it. Basically all we need to run this thing. Good old GMC 270 inline 6. These things are rowdy sounding motors. They actually used to race these on Bonneville back in the day. These 270s and then the 302 GMCs, they look about the same, just different displacement obviously, but the 302s were more common for hot rodding, but these 270s did get hot rodded as well. And they're a really good running motor, and they sound really good when they're, you know, wound up and going fast too. So I'm sure you guys will love the noise this thing makes. So we're all set, fluids are good. Now we'll go grab some hot coals to put under the oil pan, get this thing warming up, and she ought to fire right up and crawl out of here. Now, if you're new around here, you're probably wondering why I'm grabbing hot coals to put under the truck. Now, this is an old school Alaska method that I've heard old stories about. And basically, guys back in the day would take hot coals out of their wood stove, and they would take a traditional metal gold pan and put the hot coals in the gold pan, and then go outside, slide it under their rig or a piece of equipment, whatever they were trying to get going. And the heat from the hot coals would just rise up and preheat the oil in the oil pan, and it would help get stuff fired up in the extreme cold. So it's a really old school method. I've heard a lot of stories about it, and I actually tested it out last winter on the Studebaker when I cold started that, and it worked really well. And I've done it again a couple times, so we're gonna stick with tradition here and do it again on the old 6x, and we'll get her fired up. All right, grab us some coals here. Ought to be plenty. Pretty toasty even with welding gloves on. Under the truck here, we got the gold pan sitting on half of an old air cleaner, so it's up off the ground and not in the snow. Now we'll just let those coals do their thing, let the heat rise, warm up the oil for a little bit, and we'll be good to go. Got the hood shut to retain a little bit of heat that rises up. Now, of course, if we were doing this in extreme temperatures, below zero and stuff, we'd have this thing tarped over and, insulated so that it can retain the heat better that's trying to go up and warm up the motor. But seeing that it's warm out, today, it shouldn't take too long, and we shouldn't need all that stuff. So give it a little bit of time and we ought to be good. Well, it's been about 20 minutes or so with the hot coals under there going to town on the oil pan. Now, I am going to cheat a little bit and give it some gas down the carburetor, mainly because, it's still cold out and we're dealing with a 6-volt electrical system, so we're not going to have the super fast cranking power to draw fuel up super quick. So just to save on our battery and equipment, we'll give her some gas. She'll like it. So give her a little bit down here. And we'll make our way through this snow and eventually find us a cab to crawl into. Well, it's not super stiff in gear, so that helps. Electric fuel pump's going. Choke, and good old floor starter. I love this World War II stuff. 80 years later, and they're just completely unfazed. They fire right up and they idle away like they're brand new. made it out to the plowed part. Thing did great. Pretty sure these things have like 667 gear ratios, so she's super low. It just crawls and does not care one bit. Had it hopping a little bit, but some back and forth action and came right out of there just fine. So looks like we got a couple low tires. We'll cruise this thing over to the shop, throw some air in the tires and drive this thing around some, have some fun. Got the tires all aired up. Let's take this thing for a spin. Well, there you have it. We got to fire up one of the old war relics and have some fun. She went through the snow pretty well without struggling all that much, so that's always good. And it's a great time firing these things up and playing around with them and having some fun every now and then. It's pretty amazing, you know, 80 years later, you know, these things are still going strong. So yeah, it's a lot of fun playing around with them, and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching along as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and until the next time, I will see you guys later.